Good evening. You're watching State of Business on our television. This is Zinat Musafir. Let's take a look at the headlines first. Potential for accelerated growth in trade between Sri Lanka and Germany, says Andreas Hergenrother. Prime Minister launches first tourist-friendly three-wheeler service. News in details. Delegate of German Industry and Commerce in Sri Lanka, Andreas Hergenrother, states that Sri Lanka must have an improved outlook for foreign investment portfolios, which will ensure the reliability of the country. In an exclusive interview with our television, he also briefed measures that should be taken by the government to attract more foreign direct investments into Sri Lanka.
The steps I think that you are referring to that should be taken to encourage more investments are, as I said, to send out a clear signal, to set up now a legal frame for investments that would be really a long-term legal frame where also the companies would have really the confidence to be able to invest into the market. I think the country, due to its geographic position, due to its function as a logistic hub, offers tremendous opportunities. I think now it's also the time really to set really the clear frame. Also when it comes to the topic of liberalization of certain sectors, I think there a clear policy should be stated when it comes also in the electronic solutions of governmental services. I think this is something that also has been now approached by the Sri Lankan government when it comes to custom procedure and other administrative procedures here on the governmental level. I think this would be definitely also a major factor to increase investment. Also when it comes to public tendering processes, public procurement. From our side, we always recommend also that the transparency would be increased, that Sri Lanka also eventually would be a signatory of the Global Government Procurement Act, GPA. There are certain measures, I think they are under discussion, and the feedback that we got from the governmental institutions are quite positive, so we think that Sri Lanka definitely is on a good way.
Speaking further, Hergenrother noted that there is considerable potential for accelerated growth in trade between Sri Lanka and Germany, while mentioning future plans of the delegation of German Industry and Commerce in Sri Lanka.
For us, always is a very important topic is when it comes to exports to the EU and vice versa, is the harmonization of standards. And I think Sri Lanka there also is on a good way, and we don't have significant problems as we do with other countries, but I think this is something to facilitate bilateral trade with the EU, which could be eventually undertaken so that the standards that are applied here in Sri Lanka would correspond then also to the European standards and vice versa to facilitate bilateral trade. For us, we want of course to extend our activities here. We want really, especially for the Sri Lankan side, to be a very reliable partner when it comes to export promotion and foreign direct investment. We deeply believe we can only grow when our partners grow, and we are very interested also here to make it very clear that we support here the Sri Lankan companies in the same way as we do support also our German companies.
Now let's take a look at a few stories in brief. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe launched a tourist-friendly three-wheeler service for the first time in Sri Lanka today at the Golfes Green. This project is being implemented by the Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority under the direction of the Ministry of Finance and Mass Media to keep up with the proposals of Budget 2018. During the event, Prime Minister awarded certificates and seal of approval for 150 tuk-tuk drivers who have successfully completed the training provided by the SLTDA. Multinational data solutions organization Global Data has ranked Sri Lanka as the fourth fastest growing tourism market in the world. The list also includes Iceland, Japan, Hungary and Chile, while Sri Lanka was the only 4-star rated country in the top 10. Global Data's Tourism Potential Index provides a ranking of 60 for major developed and emerging markets around the world to assess potential growth opportunities in the tourism sector. The list is compiled using a ranking based on estimated average annual growth in international arrivals, and the forecasts are based on factors such as capital investment, GDP and disposable income in main source markets. According to Global Data Services, Sri Lanka's investment-friendly atmosphere and significantly improved infrastructure will contribute towards an accelerated growth in the future. Sri Lanka Economic Summit 2018, organized by the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, is scheduled to be held for the 18th time this September under the theme on the fast track to a turnaround. The sessions will understand the need for a turnaround, how it can be achieved, and accelerating future outcomes related to trade, investment and services. The latter session will build on some of the developments over the last 12 months with the signing of the Singapore-Sri Lanka FTA, launching of initiatives such as the National Export Strategy, Single Window Investment Facilitation Task Force and the Trade Information Portal. We're going in for a short break. Do stay tuned for more news after these commercials. Welcome back. During a press briefing held in Colombo today, former parliamentarian Vasudeva Nanayakkara made the following remarks with regard to government initiatives, Gamperaliya and Enterprise Sri Lanka.
Gamperaliya and Enterprise Sri Lanka. මේවා යටතේ දැන් බැංකු වලට ඉල්ලුම් පත්‍ර දාලා තියෙනවා, ව්‍යාපාර සැලසුම් දීලා තියෙනවා, බැංකුවේ ඒවා අනුමත කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒ අනුමත කරපු ඒ ණය ඉවිසුම් යවලා තියෙනවා දැන් මහ බැංකුවට. නමුත් මහ බැංකුවෙන් තාම බැංකුවට අවිල්ලා නැහැ. මේ මට ලැබුණු තොරතුර. මේ නායකපා හැරීම උතුර නගිනහිර ඌවත් මොණරාගල නෙමෙයි බදුල්ල අන්න ඒ වගේ දිස්ත්‍රික්ක ගණනාවකටත් පළාත් ගණනාවකටත් සීමා කළා තියෙනවා. ඇයි එහෙම කරන්නේ? මේ ශුද්‍ර මූල්‍ය ණයගත්තු අය අනිත් හැම පළාතෙම ඉන්නවා. ඒ අතරින් බංකොලොත් වෙච්ච අයත් බොහෝ දෙනා ඉන්නවා. හේතුව අර ගිනි පොලි හේතුව.
Now let's take a look at the weekly economic indicators released by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka last Friday. The year-on-year National Consumer Price Index headline inflation increased to 2.5% in June 2018 from 2.1% in May 2018. The change in the NCPI measured on an annual average basis decreased from 5.7% in May 2018 to 5.3% in June 2018. When monthly change is considered, the NCPI increased from 124.3 index points in May 2018 to 126.5 index points in June 2018, largely due to the increase in prices of the items in the food category. The NCPI core inflation increased from 1.7% in May 2018 to 1.8% in June 2018 on a year-on-year basis. Moreover, during the period, crude oil prices largely followed an increasing trend. Prices fell at the beginning of the period due to the risk of oversupply. However, prices rose subsequently due to Saudi Arabia suspending crude oil shipments via the strategic Red Sea shipping lane and the data showing US oil inventories falling to a 3.5-year low level. Overall, Brent and WTI prices rose by $1.8 per barrel and $1.5 per barrel respectively within the period. The weekly average weighted prime lending rate for the week ending 26 July 2018 increased by 2 basis points to 11.44% compared to the previous week. The reserve money increased compared to the previous week mainly due to increase in deposits held by commercial banks. The total outstanding market liquidity increased to a surplus of 41.65 billion rupees by end of the week compared to 33.47 billion rupees by the end of last week. During the year up to 26 July 2018, the Sri Lanka rupee depreciated against the US dollar by 4.2%. Given the cross-currency exchange rate movements, the Sri Lanka rupee depreciated against the pound sterling by 2.4%, euro by 2.5% and Japanese yen by 5.8%, while appreciated against the Indian rupee by 2.8% during the period. We're going in for a short break. Do stay tuned to see how the stocks performed today after these commercials. Welcome back. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a negative note today. The All Share Price Index dropped 25.04 points to close at 6,128.95 and the S&P SR20 dropped 22.22 points to close at 3,338.15. The turnover was 169.6 million rupees and 10.3 million shares were traded. Next is Forex rates. That's all the news we have for you today. Join us tomorrow with State of Business on our television at the same time. Until then, take care and good night.